Hey Scrappers, Tom here, creator of the iScrap app and also a scrapyard owner. In the next few videos, you're going to see all types of market recaps for 2023, as well as future predictions and things to just think about in 2024. Now, if you haven't downloaded the app, please download it today so you can report your prices, so you can check prices that are out there, learn about material, get notifications when we have market news, weekly reports, and other type of information that's going to help you make more money with your scrap. So without further ado, let's jump into some of the different metals and the different categories that we're going to talk about for 2024. So scrappers, copper prices in 2023 were really not as bad as they thought they were going to be. You know, are they as high as we wanted? No, of course not. But we did see a couple of real good, strong economic factors throughout 2023, which gives me a little optimism moving into 2024 and beyond. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind, and this is going to be the theme throughout the videos. Oil prices, interest rates, presidential election. Now, why are those so important? The interest rates being higher means that borrowing money costs more. You got to pay more back to the bank or whatever financial institution it is. Same goes for investing when it comes to copper, right? Are buildings being put up? Are people going to be building those and needing copper wire to feed those? We don't know. That's something that we're going to look into. 2023 saw a lot of wishy-washy growth. We didn't see large consumer projects happening. A lot of residential projects, but more on the housing side of things. So there was a demand for copper. There was a demand for red metals such as brass. But compared to years in the past, the markets weren't nearly as strong. So oil prices dipped down. That helped copper prices, especially in the fourth quarter of 2023. But again, overall volume, I don't know how we're going to see things, really working itself out. When I look at U.S. demand, scrap was a little weak because of the construction sector. Not a lot of big projects going on there, and we'll talk about that in one of the steel videos. But we did start to see the interest rates peter themselves out, kind of flat line going into the fourth quarter. So that did help buoy some of the copper prices at the end of the year. Going all the way back to April 2022, when some of the copper and other metal prices were really going crazy after the Ukrainian invasion, a lot of those numbers have really dropped off in the last year and a half. But what I like is a lot of people were predicting copper trading below $3. That did not happen this year, and that's a really good thing because it shows the strength, just the overall reliability of copper markets in 2023 was much better than we thought. Now, things that we're going to look for 2024 are the oil prices going to continue to be a little smaller? Are we going to start to see EV output starting to increase? Right now we're starting to see contractions on the electric vehicle side, and with the amount of copper that's needed for electric vehicles, that could hurt the market, but it's not going to be such a market mover that's going to make prices go up or down by 10% opposed to construction, for instance. Consumer demands. People have lots and lots of credit card debt. Are people going to stop buying more stuff and use what they have? Are they going to use their iPhone 14 instead of upgrading to the iPhone 15, or their Galaxies, or their laptops, their iPads, their tablets, their TVs, their cars, their stuff, right? If you're upgrading more stuff, that means more metal that was being used is now being put into the consumer economy for us to be able to recycle, right? Because old stuff's getting replaced. But if you start to see used car sales creeping themselves up again because people are holding on to their vehicles longer, that means that new productions are not going to be moving off the lot, and copper and other metals are going to continue to hurt. Renewable energy, we have this Green New Deal or whatever the government calls it. Well, what type of infrastructure investments are going to come from the CHIPS Act, the infrastructure bills that's going to affect EV charging stations using copper and transformers? That's going to affect solar and wind projects using copper, wire, transformers, other things. What's the expansion of the 5G networks going to be for the cellular industry? Are they going to be redoing a lot of their old towers? That's another thing to look for as we consume copper, keep it in the United States, but you also have to look outside of the US, and this is one of the craziest things that people really don't think about. Copper, oil, grain, wheat, these are all worldwide commodities because we use them on every continent. So the worldwide demand, how are other countries doing? You know, is the Israeli conflict going to hurt prices? Is the Ukrainian conflict going to hurt prices? Is a presidential election going to cause a lot of companies to not overly invest and see where the tax structures could possibly go in 2025? These are all things that affect the copper markets, the interest rates, all of these different things. And one of my notes here, could we see a slower 2024 demand than we did in 2023? I think the answer could be yes, and that might be all the way up until the election is done. If you guys remember in 2016, no one really expected the Republicans to win. When they did, the stock market went down, but then it shot back up after we started to hear some words of reinvesting, doubling down on the country, using materials here. So those could be things that buoy prices in 2025. But again, we're looking a year in advance. And we saw the electrification increasing some of the copper growth, the clean energy increasing some of the copper growth. But because consumer demands, interest rates, and buying patterns really started to slow down the end of 2023, we expect that to continue into 2024 as we hear things like high credit card debts, mortgage being so high compared to what they were 2-3 years ago. These are all factors that contribute, and I'll give you an example. If someone locked in a mortgage rate of 4%, they're looking to move and upgrade their home, but their mortgage payment is going to go up $2,000 a month. They might not be putting, that money into a new house or $1,000 a month, whatever the increase is. Maybe they're doing some smaller projects at home. So you might see more people doing projects in their existing residences, which doesn't consume large amounts of copper or other metals, right? And that goes for the same on the commercial side of things. Companies might not be overly investing in their equipment right now because a little uncertainty for interest rates or copper and other metal prices going into 2024. So these are all things that we look at, that we keep in mind, and I'd love to hear your opinions on them. But overall, copper in 2023, I'm very happy with it. We didn't have that plunge that we thought we were going to. Steady prices throughout, and going into 2024, things like brass, copper, insulated wire, I think we're going to continue to ride a very strong wave. So we look forward to hearing your reactions. Check out our other 2023 recaps. Until next time, I'll scrap you later.